Hey, what's up, guys? This is David Chase Taylor of 911truther.org. Today is June 16th of 2026. So, based on breaking news and events, it appears that CIA headquarters located beneath CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland is going to stage an earth-changing Defcon level event just prior to, during, or right after the 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time primetime address by U.S. President Donald J. Trump from the Oval Office of the White House in Washington, D.C. This is going to be a watershed moment in time. This is going to forever change the direction of the United States of America and or the world for that matter. And it's going to happen live on the date of July 16th of 2026 or the morning of July 17th of 2026 around the world. So what I'm going to do in this video is first highlight briefly the numerology surrounding this particular date. As with all CIA political assassinations, terror attacks, and acts of war, it always, and I mean always, has the numeric signature of the CIA in Switzerland who is going to execute this particular earth-changing event. And then I'm going to highlight what I believe is going to happen, and then I'm going to highlight the top 20 or so other potential scenarios which are likely to commence on the evening of July 16th or the morning of July 17th. So firstly, in respect to the numerology, the date of July 16th, namely the number 16, is found in the logo of the CIA. It features a 16-pointed star, and so this suggests that an attack is imminent. Also, the date of July 16th marks exactly 196 days since Guy Parmelon became president of Switzerland. For those of you unaware, the CIA cues off the head of state in each respective country when they stage terror attacks and events. And because the CIA is in Switzerland, they cue off this number, which is 196. 196 days since he became president of Switzerland back on January 1st of 2026. Of course, this number has the number 16, again, which is found in the 16-pointed star of the CIA in the CIA logo. And then it also has the number 19, which equates to the letter S, which is an acronym for Switzerland itself. So this particular date, it has the numeric signature of the CIA in Switzerland. Also, it marks the 197th day of the year. And the number 17 in this particular number equates to the letter Q as in coup d'etat, because this is an overthrow of the standing order of the status quo, and they are going to spawn a second global biological pandemic and or trigger World War III or assassinate U.S. President Donald J. Trump on this particular numerology. Okay, so what is going to happen, obviously not known. I believe the most likely scenario is that the CIA is going to stage a North Korean nuclear missile barrage targeting the United States as precedent for an activation of the emergency alert broadcast system, the EAS, emergency alert system, across the United States. This will take the United States to a martial law type setting. And they're likely going to claim that Trump suffered some sort of medical related event during this evacuation of Washington, D.C. These missiles will likely land in the Pacific Ocean or in the Midwest, such as Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, etc. This scenario has been planned for years, and it started with the North Korean nuclear ICBM hoax targeting the Hawaiian Islands a few years back. And so this is designed to foreshadow and set the precedent for a secondary event, which is apparently going to happen on the evening of July 16th of 2026. Another scenario which I've identified, which is the second most likely scenario, is that the CIA stages an Iranian nuclear missile strike targeting one or more locations in the Mediterranean, Middle East, or Greater West Asia. I believe that the CIA is planning to stage an Iranian nuclear missile strike targeting multiple locations in Ukraine under some sort of backroom deal reached between Russian President Vladimir Putin and the new um, supreme leader of Iran. So that is obviously a real potential scenario. Another potential scenario is that the CIA stages some sort of Iranian nuclear missile strike targeting the state of Israel, specifically to fulfill the prophecy of Revelation 16:16 and the Battle of Armageddon, etc., etc., etc. Other potential scenarios include an active war by China, Iran, Russia, Pakistan, or North Korea, a 9/11 style or 9/11 level terror event, which will predictably be CBRN in nature, that's chemical, biological, radiological, or nuclear in nature, some sort of Trump medical related event. So I published a bunch of reports yesterday regarding this. This is basically the plan, is that they are going to hit Trump with some sort of directed energy weapon. He's going to have some sort of medical related event, and then he's going to be subsequently taken to Walter Reed National Military Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland, where he's going to be murdered in an ancient, esoteric, and ritualistic Jewish blood sacrifice. And this notion is corroborated by the fact that in the last 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, there's been 2 different events where he has been taken to Walter Reed. The first was a hoax, a rumor, an internet rumor that Trump had been hospitalized at Walter Reed, and then on the 11th of July, Trump went to Walter Reed for an undisclosed reason. So this is all setting up for J.D. Vance to become President of the United States on July 17th of 2026 in the aftermath of a Trump medical-related event where the 25th Amendment will be invoked, and then J.D. Vance will be serving as Vice President. Coincidentally, yesterday, July 15th of 2026, J.D. Vance appeared on Joe Rogan, and this is designed to foreshadow the J.D. Vance presidency that is imminent. Also, it's highly likely that the CIA would stage some sort of an attack on Washington, D.C. on the evening of July 16th, most likely during the live broadcast of this particular speech by Trump from the Oval Office. There's also the possibility that Trump will be a no-show at the event. I should have mentioned this earlier. So there is a future scenario in which the live broadcast commences and they're waiting for Trump to walk out, and he doesn't walk out because he suffers some sort of medical related event in the green room or wherever he's coming from. In the event of Trump addressing the American public, he's allegedly going to be talking about an upcoming election, which is very premature. So this begs the question, why is Trump addressing the American public on July 16th when the election is not until November? But I guess he's going to be talking about the Save America Act. But there's also the high possibility that the CIA will stage some sort of a security breach during the live broadcast of this speech from the Oval Office, and this will trigger a chain of events which results in the hospitalization and subsequent death of Donald J. Trump. There have been multiple breaches of the security perimeter around the White House over the last few weeks. The assassination event at the Washington Hilton surrounding the White House Correspondents' Dinner was one of the major events, and then just yesterday or the day before, they arrested a gunman who was there was a brief standoff with Capitol Police, and this likely provided logistics cover for this impending event. I also published a report for July 16th regarding a Russian sniper attack, but they may blame this on an America First anti-Semitic based assassination event. But regardless, Trump is going to be targeted during this speech, just prior to, during, or right after. This could be a directed energy weapon related event, or it could be an assassin's bullet, or it could be a drone. The CIA has repeatedly tried to bomb the White House with an Iranian drone. Obviously, this is going to be in reality an Israeli drone, but they plan on framing Iran for some sort of an attack targeting the White House. Also, Russia, they can say this is a Russian cruise missile, but we know that whatever happens, it's going to be orchestrated by Switzerland and her CIA. There's also the possibility that Trump is going to use this bully pulpit from the White House on the evening of July 16th to inform the American public that Lindsey Graham was assassinated by Russia. There's also the possibility that he will claim that the U.S. is going to send in ground forces to Karg Island or other locations in Iran. And so a escalation of the ongoing Iran war is likely going to be happen. But what we know is that whatever this event happens, it's likely going to result in an activation of the aforementioned national emergency system. There's also the possibility that the CIA will stage a military offensive by China, Iran, Russia, North Korea, or Pakistan during this particular broadcast. So with the nation tuning into this particular event, it's highly likely that the CIA will move other pieces on the chessboard, so to speak, which would be breaking news. So a future scenario in which somebody runs up to Trump while he's giving a speech and whispers in his ear, similar to the George Bush reading a My Pet Goat book upside down to a classroom in Florida when the 9/11 attacks happened. Some sort of moment like that is expected this evening of July 16th. There's also been multiple reports regarding United States aircraft carriers sailing around the world. So there's a high possibility that either in the Asian theater, the Mediterranean theater, or the Middle East theater, that these aircraft carriers of the United States could come under attack by Dolphin-class, German-made Dolphin-class submarines of the Israeli Navy that would be subsequently scapegoated onto China, Iran, or Russia. There's also been headlines across the world today regarding some sort of a blackout, so some sort of a cyber-related event targeting the electrical grid of the United States is expected. Considering the aforementioned North Korean missile launch targeting the United States, they could claim that this resulted in an electromagnetic pulse knocking out the power grid of the United States. So a future scenario in which Trump is speaking to the American people and the broadcast goes down is possible. Obviously, as detailed earlier in this video, a nuclear event, explosion, or disaster is expected on the evening of July 16th or the morning of July 17th. Obviously, this would likely trigger World War III. Other scenarios include an asteroid or a comet strike, some sort of alien disclosure event, a major catastrophic earthquake attack targeting New York City, Washington, D.C., likely resulting in the collapse of the White House, or a major earthquake targeting California, the so-called big one, likely resulting in the collapse of the continental shelf and the sinking of Los Angeles into the Pacific Ocean. Also, what is key is that the United States House of Representatives just voted on H.R. 8800, the NDA, National Defense Authorization Act for the year of 2027, which has a clause, Section 219, which is a merger of the United States and the Israeli military. This was voted down, I believe, but there's a high possibility that the CIA is going to stage some sort of an America First anti-Semitic based revenge attack, possibly targeting the White House, possibly targeting American politicians that voted for this, or targeting Hebrew, Israeli, or Jewish-related entities in Washington, D.C. or elsewhere in the United States on the evening of July 16th. There's also the high probability that Benjamin Netanyahu, who was just told by U.S. President Donald J. Trump to remove his troops from Lebanon and Syria in some sort of a stand-down order, will counter Trump's, or go against Trump's instructions, and will launch an Israeli military offensive targeting one or more nations in the Middle East as part of a greater Israel project. So a future scenario in which breaking news comes during this live speech by Donald J. Trump that Benjamin Netanyahu has launched a military offensive against either Iran, who he has also been instructed to stand down on, Syria, Lebanon, Egypt, Cyprus, Turkey, Jordan, or other nations surrounding Israel is expected. Upon hearing this, there's this scenario out there that Donald J. Trump has been involved in these arguments, I guess heated arguments with Benjamin Netanyahu regarding the deployment of troops and acts and retaliation against other nations in the Middle East. And so there's this scenario out there that Trump is going to have a heart attack while arguing with Benjamin Netanyahu. So obviously I have covered this in my reports, but I just want to highlight it in this video. Another blinking red scenario is that the CIA is getting ready to stage a Russian incursion into Europe. So this could be the Baltic states of Estonia, Latvia, or Lithuania. It could be Germany, Poland, or it could be taking Kiev in Ukraine. And this will likely be executed by what I've detailed in my videos previously, which is the Shadow Army of Ukraine. I'm not going to get into it in this particular video, but a Russian incursion into Europe on the date of July 17th, targeting one or more nations, possibly in Scandinavia, possibly Finland. Anywhere is fair game for the date of July 17th. Lastly, or I should say also, is that the aforementioned German-class Dolphin submarines of the Israeli Navy will likely strike one or more locations in Europe or the American theater under the guise of a Russian submarine or Chinese submarine or Iranian submarine-based attack. This is what I call the shadow fleet, which I won't get into in this video, but that's also a possibility. Lastly, yesterday I published a report for a biological outbreak of Ebola targeting the Democratic Republic of Congo. And so in the aftermath of that report, which was going to target Kinshasa International Airport, the capital of the Congo, it's highly likely that some other biological outbreak, likely anthrax, Ebola, or smallpox, will transpire somewhere around the world, possibly targeting airports or other mass transit-related entities. So anyway, just to recap, on the evening of July 16th, morning of July 17th, some sort of apocalyptic, life-changing, Defcon level event is going to transpire in the United States or abroad. This will be specifically designed to spawn a second global biological pandemic and will trigger World War III. Obviously, if that happens, I would kindly ask you to download this video and share it with local, state, and federal law enforcement, military, and intelligence officials, as well as with local, national, and international media outlets. Praying for a peaceful evening. Peace.